Good, really good day today. First time in full pads, so first time we could go live. I thought the guys responded. Obviously, it's pretty hot. This was our longest practice thus far as well, 22 periods. So was happy with the energy, enthusiasm, physicality. Even towards the end, where I could tell that most of the guys were pretty spent. From a conditioning standpoint, but they gave it everything they had, and that was good to see. Injury update: DeMarvion Overshawn has a mid-foot sprain. Should be hopefully just a few days. Kirk Johnson landed on his shoulder today, so he's being evaluated for a clavicle deal. Other than that, I think we're just really minor stuff. So, questions?
Just the simple idea that you're saying Kirk Johnson.
Oh, nah. I mean, I don't think it's that serious. So,
okay.
Now again, I stayed at my house last night, not a Holiday Inn Express. So, I'm no doctor, but it didn't. They didn't have to.
That's funny.
Thanks. They didn't have to cart him off or anything. Right. So we'll know more this afternoon.
I've been very intrigued when listening to some of the guys for 2 days. It's interesting how many mention the fact of I have to take care of my body, and it's like this is, and I'm not asking a question. They're saying this on the road, and I wonder if that's a message coming from Yancey or you. This is a long month, August is long. How much you want these guys focused on their bodies, being in tune,
it's
staying on the field?
Yeah, it's part of. The ingrained culture of who we are. We take that very seriously. I think that's, in our new facility, we're in-house. We're going to have saltwater float tanks, cryo chambers, sleep pods, a UV bed to decrease inflammation. So we're going to have all the, and right now we do that for them. We got to go off-site for some of those things. But like yesterday on the day off, that's what we call being a pro. These guys, guys in the NFL, they spend a lot of time and money on their bodies because that's their living, and we want to train them, not just for their own success in the future, but obviously for the team. We tell them all the time, your body in peak physical condition is the greatest gift that you can give your teammates.
Real quick, did you see that Bill O'Brien praised Lemenahu for just that very topic about he knew his body and he was learning how to just be available?
I didn't, but that's awesome.
Well, being praised
I'm proud of Charles. Yeah, that's we take a lot of pride in it.
Tom, can you give us your early assessment of Duvernay and Slot?
I think it's worked out great. He's a really, really strong guy too, so he's tough to tackle. Obviously, he's extremely fast. I think he ran 22.5 miles an hour the other day at practice. At one point was his max velocity. So, and he's really smart. He's a veteran. So it's been good. Obviously, there's a learning curve for him a little bit, but he's so smart it hasn't been that steep.
Tom, the first week of practice, those first 4 practices you're talking about, you want effort, learn the culture, teach the young guys. Now you got the pads on and it's more real. What do you want for this first week of full pads?
Put your face on somebody. We pride ourselves in our physicality, and you can't be a physically dominant team on Saturdays if you don't practice that way. And our practices are very physical. And then obviously, as we get closer to game week, we'll taper that back. But we want to see the guys that embrace that culture, and those that have some work to do. It's our job how to teach them. It's our job to teach them how important that is.
Is now the time when you establish that not a guy just fly around and beat people because you can't do it as much during the season? So now is when you have to.
Yeah, this is the most live action they'll get, for the entire season. When you look at, the regular season is 12 weeks. You practice 3 times a week. That's 36 practices, and every Thursday, that we go, we're in shorts, so now it's down to 24. In the regular season, we have 25 just in preseason. So this and spring ball. So for the guys that were here in spring, there's really no issue. It's the guys that got here in June that need a little learning.
You've got 2 first-year players playing backup at linebacker right now. Not only those 2 guys, and Marcus and Juwan, but all those first few guys that you've thrown in there. How have they looked so far?
Pleasantly surprised at how well they're doing. They show up at times. Consistency is still an issue because of their knowledge of the system and just the speed of the game. But they'll all stick their foot in the ground and go hunt the football.
Because when you guys go break down practice film or in the meeting rooms, what are the names that come up the most, and why?
Oh, I think Sam's obviously doing some really good things. Just how impressed we are with Duvernay and his ability to transition in there. And then the 2 tailbacks are, there's some dynamic qualities there when they get out in the open field. On defense, I think the 2 nose guards and Keandre and Morrow, and then all of our safeties. I mean, we've got really 6 starters at safety, and Josh Thompson and Chris Brown, even though they're listed as backups right now, those guys, are making a case for getting on the field. And on third and long, when we jog out our sub package, we've got 1 D lineman in the game, 2 linebackers, and the rest are DBs, and we can run and hit on that side of the ball.
We'll talk about Whittington and Keontae. What have you seen out of Danny so far?
Say it again.
What have you seen out of Danny so far?
Oh, Danny's, he's trimmed down a little bit. I think he's at 222 right now, so he's running a little bit better. He's got a really good grasp of the system. He's got good vision, and then obviously he's pretty difficult to bring down. And he's going to make you the tough yards.
About Casey and what you're seeing from him and just his command of the offense.
Yeah, it's been impressive. He's you can see why we recruited him. I mean, he's ball comes out really smooth, really effortless, very accurate. Obviously, he can run when needed to, and for him, it's not going to be a skill set issue ever. He can throw it and run it, and he's pretty football smart. We got to get him used to. We got to make it as game-like as we can for him, for winning if we need him.
Last year, Devin Duvernay made a big step up in the depth chart in his understanding of the game and his offensive play on the field. Who's the guy who's so far made that step? Who's looking to make that step?
I think Brennan Eagles, certainly on offense.
Is that why he's taken over that C position?
I think that was the biggest reason for moving Devin is, we've got some youth at H right now that, and Josh being a true sophomore and Jake being a true freshman, and so, in order to get what is now our best 3 guys out there in the starting lineup, it was, Brennan was in that group, so moved Duvernay in the slot, and Brennan has taken to the starting job pretty well.
With today being the first day in full pads and an off day yesterday, was there a different pep in their step or whatever today because of being fresh and that excitement of full contact?
I don't know that there was a pep in their step. I think they had a little. There was a lot of chirping and talking, and which was good. You got a lot of guys out there wanting to prove how tough they are, and I don't mean you prove it by talking. I mean, but you could tell guys were into the physicality of the day.
Kind of along those lines, you have the pads that come on, y'all are going to settle into a kind of a Groundhog Day type of routine here.
Yeah.
What's your message to the guys about keeping their mind sharp, their body sharp,
Yeah.
And being present at all times.
Well, we had John Gordon come speak to us last night and about being a craftsman, about working your craft and kind of going along the lines of being a pro. And one of the things that stood out to me is he said, distractions are the enemy of greatness, and certainly off the field distractions, media, social media, all of that. But my message to them today was, there's distractions all the time on the field too. That you got to learn how to refocus. You got to learn how to dial in every rep of every day. So we'll do some things to keep it fresh in terms of different drills, and I know our sports science staff. We've changed the length of our practices. Each practice isn't going to be as long. We'll kind of undulate in terms of time on the field to try to make sure that we're keeping them as fresh as possible. But I think it's something we constantly talk about is refocusing and going 1-0.
Coach, you guys have had 2 good training camps the past couple of years, but both of that was a season opening loss. Is there anything that you tweak?
Appreciate the reminder.
Is there anything that you tweaked during training camp, or is there anything you specifically look for now just to make sure these guys are ready to start the season?
Other than the variation in periods on the field, this isn't our first gig either. We were pretty good in season openers at our previous stop. So, but I don't know that those performances were necessarily indicative of what was going on during training camp. I think it's we got to look at how we're handling the week of the game. It's hard here at the University of Texas. I called some of my peers in coaching and I said, hey, how do you guys schedule your practices when you start school on the Wednesday of the first game? And literally nobody of the 4 or 5 people that I called had that ever happened. For us, it's 3 straight years where we've started classes the Wednesday of the first game, and so that can be pretty distracting. Most other universities, they start the week before game week, so you have time to get into a routine, and so we're going to adjust a little bit how we operate on game week, knowing that classes start and it's a totally different routine getting shoved at them 3 days before the first game.
Tom, you got two veterans, Roach and Graham, both say that Savondre Sweat has jumped out at them. He's already up to 320. What have you seen from him at this point? I know Paz just went on, but he put on some weight.
Yeah, he shows up. He's a massive human being, but he's got twitch. He's got explosiveness. For him, it's obviously going to be learning the system, building stamina, and then he's only had 8 weeks in our strength program, so he's got to reshape some of that weight a little bit. But we definitely, I think everybody's kind of noticed him so far.
Tom, those handful of guys you had last year, O'Delly, Ojimo, and Coburn, that took advantage of the 4-game redshirt rule. Through spring and now, have you noticed any changes in their development compared to a normal redshirt guy that would just sit and get the extra lift and go through the normal redshirt year?
I do. I think it's certainly helped. That I've always said I'm in favor of 5 to play 5 for that reason, for the development. But at least we're on the right track right now with the 4 games, and I think maybe more than actually playing in the games, just the fact that they were on the travel squad and they practiced with the varsity, if you will. They weren't running scout team, and so all of those things in terms of their readiness really helped a lot.
Really fast. So what's the schedule for the next the next before the next off day?
Say it again?
What's the schedule before the next off day? Just full pads every day till?
No, we won't go full pads 2 days in a row. So I think tomorrow is what we call Longhorn gear. So shoulder pads, knee braces for the linemen, but shorts. And then what's the Wednesday?
Wednesday. Yeah.
And then I think Friday we'll be in shorts, trying again to monitor the intensity and make sure we stay fresh.